Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Frenemies. As always, my name is David Swor, along with my tag team partner, DJ Cox. And DJ, we're finally getting to see some baseball here recently. Last week or so, we've had spring training games going, and so it's been nice to see the sun shining, those bright green fields, and just nice to see some baseball. But we're going to talk once again about another team, this time the Detroit Tigers. And been a rough few seasons for Detroit ever since the World Series runs they had. So, DJ, why don't you give us a recap of Detroit's 2020 season?
2020, the Tigers finished 23 and 35, fifth place in the AL Central, the bottom feeders of the AL Central. Tough season for them. The 1935, 1945, 1968, and 1984 champion Detroit Tigers did not come anywhere close to that in 2020, nor are they coming any close to that anytime soon, David. However, we'll get a lot into the future of these guys a little bit later, but Miguel Cabrera, David, yet again leads the team in RBI with 35. He's going to lead them in ribbies until his contract runs up and he walks off on a cane with a walker.
We're close. It's close
Yeah.
to
So he also led the team with 10 bombs, and hitting 10 bombs in the Tigers Comerica Park is no joke, man. To hit it out of that field, you got to be a man, and to hit 10 home runs led the team last year. Jamer Candelario led the team with 55 hits, 7 bombs, 29 ribbies, had a 297 average. But here's the problem with the Tigers last year, David. The pitching was brutal. Oh my goodness. They were the worst in baseball, for being honest. We saw the debut of Casey Mize, which was really cool. A lot of fun to see him finally come up. He struggled a little bit, 0-3 with a 6.99 ERA. To his credit a little bit, so to speak, though, I don't know if he got out of the sixth inning. By that I mean they didn't go far with him. They wouldn't let him. So that was part of the problem with him, is he couldn't really extend him in the games. For whatever reason, they didn't let him go. So maybe they'll unleash him a little bit more this year. Matt Boyd, the supposed ace, David. I don't know. It's time to go. Wave
Listen,
bye-bye.
Literally a year ago, they were turning down big packages for Matt Boyd. What in the world has happened to that guy? And I'm going to throw another name in the mix, Michael Falmer, which we know what happened to him. He had an arm injury, but man, he was a stud when he kind of came on the scene, and just can't seem to put it back together. But what's going on with Matt Boyd?
I do not know. 3-7 with a 6.71 ERA last year, David. That is terrible. I don't get it. He's not even close. And like you said, Fulmer's ERA was 8.78. These guys were just getting blown up. Spencer Turnbull was a lone bright spot at a 4-4 with a 3.94 ERA. Tarik Skubal, we practiced that one about 140 times off air. I think I got it right, man. A 5.63 ERA. Ivan Nova, 8.53 ERA. And Jordan Zimmerman, David, somehow got 2 starts and got bombed for a 7.94. That guy's got to go. Wow, Jordan, you gotta go coach some high school ball or something, buddy. Nothing against you, but it's time, man. Hang them up. Throw the cleats on the wire, like they say. Put them up there. It's time to walk away. But this team struggled bad. Ended up being a 5.63 team ERA last year, which was the worst in the majors by far. The upside was the debut of prospects. Like we talked about with Casey Mize, Tarik Skubal. So these guys are coming up and got a little taste of the pros, and they got more guys coming up here soon. So that's kind of what the Tigers were kind of going for here in 2020, is to just let these guys come up and see what they got. When we talked in our preview last year about the Tigers, we talked about them bringing Mize up in 2020, and it ended up happening. So they swept the Twins at the end of August, David, and to their credit, but then they lost 7 in a row after that to the Indians and the White Sox from August 14 to 20. And then September, they had a 7-19 record. So toward the end there, they really bombed out, and that kind of put them in the cellar, so to speak, with their September play. So not a good season overall as far as the team aspect goes, but there were some definite bright spots, as far as some things that were happening for the Tigers that kind of made 2020 a little bit worthwhile for them. So what did you think of their season?
Yeah, so the Tigers kind of hung around for a pretty good while. Ron Gardenhire is an awesome manager. Kind of hated to see him go, to be honest with you. He retired with about 8 or 10 games left due to health concerns. But he kind of kept them around, and they were a scrappy little team. If they just could have had some pitching, I think it would have made a huge difference. And to be honest, DJ, they didn't make a lot of additions in that department this year. And so here's the guys that they added. They added Jose Urena. Let's see here. Nomar Mazara, former top prospect for the Rangers. Renato Nunez, who they got on a minor league deal, I think is very sneaky. Robbie Grossman and Wilson Ramos. So out of those guys, DJ, I believe I got everybody. Who do you think is going to have the most impact on their team this year?
Well, to be honest with you, David, I kind of think Grossman will end up having more of an impact. I think he's gonna play a lot more for them. However, I don't really understand, and it's possible too. I've been reading a little bit on the first base job that Renato Nunez comes in there and sneaks and takes that first base job for right now. And I like this move a lot. And we've talked about him before in our podcast, and he's sneaky, man. This guy had a 2019 season with 31 bombs and 90 ribbies, a 244 batting average and 311 on base in 151 games. So he's no joke, man. And he was a really good player for the Orioles. He probably was one of their best players with Mancini there for a little while. And he kind of just fell off with the Orioles out of nowhere. And I didn't even know he had got dropped by them, to be honest with you. And then the Tigers made a little sneaky move and got him. I like it. He's become an RBI machine, to be honest with you. He doesn't bat very well as far as average goes, but when you're knocking to 90 runs in a 162-game season, I'll take that if you're going to be that guy. So it's kind of the trade-off you get. He's not a great hitter, but he'll knock in runs. So I honestly believe that he's more of an impact possibility than Grossman. What do you think?
I'm going to say watch out for Nomar Mazara. Again,
okay.
He was a former number one prospect, really rough year last year. But, he's had 3 years where he's hit 20 homers and 1 year over 100 RBIs. And like I said, he's still not very old. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, where they're going to play him. I saw several lineup projections, and to be honest, he wasn't in any of them. So I'm not sure where they're going to play him. But I think this is a good move for a team kind of trying to find their way. Honestly, it's a lot like when the Yankees picked up Aaron Hicks. It was kind of like, what are we going to do with that guy? But he had the pedigree, and they were willing to wait on him. So watch out for Nomar Mazara. So subtractions, they lost Austin Romine, Ivan Nova, Jordan Zimmerman, Derek Holland, and I believe that's it. So, we went over their pitching situation. I'm sorry, Derek Holland was an addition. We went over their pitching situation, didn't lose much in Zimmerman and Nova. I guess Romine, former Yankee backup catcher, maybe that hurts him in some way. I don't know. Wilson Ramos is probably a better catcher. So they didn't really lose a whole lot. They added, some guys that I think will help them. I just wish they had more pitching. I wish they would have picked up one of those pitchers. But, DT, why don't you give us what their projected lineup and rotation is going to look like?
Sure. So manager A.J. Hinch just got hired on with the Tigers this year. He got a little slap on the wrist for the whole scandal he went through. Got fired from the Astros and just picks up another job. Boy, does he have his hands full. And, I guess he's a great manager. I'm not going to really knock him for how good he is of a manager he is, but I think it's kind of crazy. He's already got a job when so many guys need a baseball job and managerial chance, and they don't get it. But whatever, that's for another day, I guess. But he leads a team that no doubt has some upside with some prospects that have possibly come up. But for now, they go Robbie Grossman in left field, who last year played with the A's, had 8 bombs, 23 ribbies, hit 241 with a 344 on base. Nice addition. Jonathan Scope will be their second baseman, hitting 8 bombs with 23 ribbies, 278 and a 324 on base. Now, David, was he with the Tigers last year? I can't remember exactly what he did last year.
Yep, he was. And then if I'm not mistaken, I'll look it up while we're talking. I'm pretty sure he got traded as the season went on, but I am pretty sure that he started with the Tigers.
So he got traded and then they got him back somehow, right? So I was confused looking up all this stuff about him and that he was back to the Tigers. So I was kind of wondering what happened there.
I'm sorry. He was with the Tigers all year.
Okay. Because I was confused. I wasn't sure. Who was he with in 19? Does it say there?
In 19, he was with Minnesota. In 18, he was with Baltimore and then ended up with Milwaukee.
Okay, so that's what it is I'm just confused because he's been bouncing around here a lot recently, and he was on the Tigers last year with those numbers and is back again at second base. He's a sneaky good player. I kind of like him. Miguel Cabrera is your DH, batting third, 10 bombs, 35 ribbies last year, hit 250. And David, here's something I wanted to bring up too. He's 134 hits shy of 3,000. And he's 13 bombs shy of 500. The magic numbers are coming up for him both this year. And it's going to happen if he stays healthy. He's going to get the homers. The hits will be a little tougher, but, he'll eventually get there with both of those things. He's already a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. This will just solidify the magic numbers for him. So that's something Tigers fans have to look forward to this year. No doubt is to see that. So your 4-hitter, Jamer Candelario, the Candy Man. This is the guy right now for the Tigers. A lot of people say he's their best player. He started the season last year, David, 0-17 at the plate. And then he went on an absolute tear from August to mid-September where he led the majors with a 388 batting average. So he was on fire there for them. 7 bombs, 29 ribbies, hit close to 300 at 297 with a 369 on base. Then you go Wilson Ramos, the catcher, who had 5 bombs, 15 ribbies, hit 239. Nomar Mazara has been penciled in at right in some things I've been seeing here, David, that you were talking about earlier. Rough year for him last year with the White Sox. Didn't really play a ton. 1 bomb, 15 ribbies, 222 batting average. Looking for a rebound out of him. He's definitely got the potential. He can hit the ball into outer space. He's got that much power. I think he owns the home run record as far as distance goes at the old Rangers field, which was a moonshot. I can't remember the exact distance, but he holds that record. Then you got Renato Nunez, we just talked about at first. 12 bombs, 31 ribbies, 256 batting average last year. Jacoby Jones is penciled in at the center field position. 5 bombs, 14 ribbies, 268 batting average last year. And Wheelie Castro, David. This is an AL Rookie of the Year candidate here. Old Willie, 349 batting average, 381 on base, 6 bombs, 24 RBIs. He's a definite candidate to win Rookie of the Year this year. He's up there in the picks, the projections. So not a bad lineup. He's one of their young stud prospects they got. So what do you think overall as a whole of that lineup this year?
I like that. They got some guys on the bench as well that could help. Nico Goodrum, great fielding player. Hadn't quite found it with the bat, but, I really like him. Victor Reyes, good player. I really like their lineup. I think they have a chance there to be pretty decent. But again, it's going to fall on that pitching. And there's some talent in that rotation, but are they going to be able to put it together? So give us a rundown of the Tigers rotation.
Matthew Boyd is still penciled in as their ace, David. What's the love affair there, man? I don't know. It's kind of like that, you just got to kind of cut ties and break up, and you can't do it for some reason. And they're just having a really hard time separating. Maybe they're staying together for the kids. I don't know what's going on here, but he's sticking around as their ace. I'm putting that in light quotes, the ace of the team with a 3-7 record last year, 6.71 ERA. Casey Mize, who will be your ace, I believe, this year. I think he's their number 1 guy. 0-3 last year with a 6.99 ERA. Spencer Turnbull is a stud, 4-4, 397. If Mize isn't ready, he could take that role. Michael Falmer's your 4 at 0-2 with an 8.78. And then Jose Urena, 0-3, 5.40 ERA. And as long as he's not pitching against the Braves, he might be able to stay on the mound long without getting beat up. So that's a good thing. So hopefully he can manage not to try to bean everybody. And Tarik Skubal is also a possibility in the rotation. So you got those 6 guys. Kyle Funkhouser is another guy I wanted to mention real quick. He's just a local kid. 1-1 ERA last year, 7.27 ERA. Oak Forest High School graduate. He was a senior Gatorade Player of the Year in Illinois. 11-2 with a 0.65 ERA and 132 Ks his senior year in high school. Pretty awesome as far as he goes. He was a really good prospect here in Illinois for a long time. So, yeah, not very good, David, overall as far as 1 through 5. But I like Turnbull. I like Mize. I like Skubal. Those guys got a lot of potential coming up here. So it's possible in the future they could put together a nice rotation. But what do you think about it for this year?
Well, I think it could be sneaky, man. I think it would be really sneaky. We're going to talk about, some of their prospects here in a minute. They've got a lot of guys close. Matt Manning is projected to be a number 1 or number 2 starter. He's kind of waiting in the wings. They think he could be up this year. So I guess the jury's going to be out. So on paper, it doesn't look very good. But I think this could be a rotation that could surprise some people, a la the Marlins this past year. Nobody knew who any of those guys were either when the season started. So I think they're still a ways away. They need to find who their ace is going to be and so on. But they definitely got some talent in that rotation. And maybe this is the year, DJ, that Matt Boyd finds it. Maybe this is it. I was looking through his stats. I don't know what the love affair is either. I mean, they were asking for a huge haul for him, DJ. Here's his ERAs for the last 4 years: 6.71, 4.56, 4.39, 5.27. His career ERA in 6 years is 5.08, 34 and 54. So we're not talking about a guy who had some success and then, has just lost it. He's really never been successful. It's mind-blowing, but we'll see. Maybe Falmer can come back. He was definitely headed down the ace path at one point. So that's a sneaky rotation, I think. It could go either way. So, DJ, what position battles are the Tigers going to have this year?
Well, I mean, basically the whole entire team's got their jobs on the line. Let's be honest here. But let's talk about that rotation for a little bit. I don't think anyone besides Turnbull and Mize are really safe, so to speak, in this rotation. Urina's 32 and 46 with a 4.60 ERA in his career. So I don't know about him either, to be honest with you. Julio Turan is another guy I didn't really mention. He kind of picked him up in a little bit of a sneaky move. This guy could stick too if they don't want to go with the young guys to start with here. He's got a career 77 and 77 win-loss record with a 3.81 ERA. He's also a 2-time All-Star, and he could steal a starting spot this year too. He was with the Braves there for a while. He's looking like a possible ace there, to be honest with you, for a little bit there when he was pitching. He's got nasty stuff. If he can find it again, he can jump into a spot as well. So you've got about 7 dudes who can fill those 5 spots. So I'm be interesting to see, David, who out of those 7 guys, the 5 that are going to stick. And I think that it's a battle, no doubt. And when you're talking about Manning down the line too, he's supposed to be a future stud on this team too. So they decided to bring him up. That's 8 guys. So there's definitely some position battles going on in that starting rotation. What do you got for battles?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the outfield. This goes back to they got Nomar Mazara. They've got Victor Reyes, a nice young player that they're going to have to find the bats for. They got Robbie Grossman, who they signed this year. It was kind of a little bit of a head scratcher, I think, and maybe it won't be in the end. Robbie Grossman's a nice player. I just didn't think he would get a multi-year deal. It was just kind of a head scratcher. So, and then they've got some young prospects too to keep an eye out for. Like I said, a lot of their prospects, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, are close. They got ETAs of 2021 and 2022. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how that outfield shakes out, who steps up. And they definitely need, a little more thump in the lineup. And that's why I think Mazara could be a sneaky ad for them. So let's talk about their farm system, DJ. Ranked number 5 right now. They got 5 prospects in the top 50, not the top 100, the top 50. which their top 5 prospects are Torkelson, who is ranked 4th. Mize, he still qualifies, ranked 5th. Manning is 20th. Riley Green is 25th. And Tarik Skubal, 42nd. So which prospect do you think could have an impact this year, DJ?
All of the above, David.
Yes,
I
I
really
agree.
believe that, man. Oh my goodness, are those some studs they've got waiting in the wings? I could talk a lot about all those guys. Riley Green, I've seen some video on him that'll blow your mind how good he is, man. And he's kind of the one down the line, so to speak, as far as all these guys, because everyone talks about Mize and Torkelson. But I'll focus on Torkelson here for a sec. The number 3 prospect in baseball overall. He's an Arizona State guy, so I love to talk about Arizona State guys. He's immediately the Tigers' number 1 prospect when he got drafted, number 1 out of ASU in 2020. The combination of raw power, bat speed, and strength puts Torkelson as a perennial all-star and MVP candidate, and that's no joke. Like, I'm not just saying that. He's got potential to be the cornerstone of this franchise for many years to come. I'd say Miguel Cabrera right now is obviously the face of the franchise. But this guy, no doubt, when he makes his debut, is going to take that over and he's going to run with it. So unlike other power hitters, Spencer does not sell out for power, but, he'll achieve it through great mechanics and athleticism. He's got a ton of athleticism in his body. Hits to all the fields, which is also good. Elite hitter. It's looking like he will be the 2022 opening day first baseman for sure. They're projecting him to come up, no doubt, next year. But I really believe, David, that the Tigers are going to get beat up a lot this year. And when they get to September or maybe even earlier, we're going to see him, I believe, make his debut this year to kind of get a little taste of the big leagues before he becomes the everyday starter at first base next season. So they're looking good with him and Riley Green. Green will also debut next year as well. So, man, these guys are just wow. I really am big on Torkelson, Mize, Green. I just love it, man. I think that if all these guys project, they all project high, and if they all play like they're supposed to, man, it's going to be fun for Tigers fans for years to come. So, who are you going to focus on, David?
I'm gonna double back my boy Matt Manning.
Nice.
Again, 6'6", 97-mile-an-hour fastball with a hammer curve. He was the 9th pick of the 2016 draft. His dad played in the NBA, so he's an athlete. From everything that I've read, he could have played basketball, I believe it was, in college as well. And I love guys that are athletes, DJ. You can't teach a lot of what they do. It's just in them, and definitely going to make him, be a better player. But he's dominated in the minors. He was the Eastern League Pitcher of the Year back in 2018, and he just continues to get better. And, man, if Mize is anything like what they say he's going to be, and if Manning is anything like they say he's going to be, and if Skubal can just be a number 3 starter, you start seeing the pieces fall in place pretty quickly in that rotation, which, again, that's what was missing last year. The Tigers kind of hung around with that lineup. They don't get the credit, I think, that they deserve for hanging around. They just kind of lost it in September, but they were definitely in the playoff hunt for a lot of last season with I think their rotation ERA last year was 6.37 or 6.97. I don't remember. 6.37 last year was their rotation ERA, just pitiful. And so if they can start getting some production, man, this is a team on the rise. And, the division that they're in with our boys, the White Sox, it keeps coming back to the White Sox, DJ. But they could be making some noise pretty soon. Cleveland seems to kind of be on the downturn a little bit. Minnesota, it seems like maybe they're sort of at their pinnacle as well. Maybe they might start heading the other way. And so I think they could be competitive really soon, DJ, really soon. But not this year, unfortunately. So where do you think Detroit's going to fall this year?
Well, I've got them finishing 5th place. I really do. I think they're in the bottom this year. There's no doubt about it. There's not much to say as far as possibly getting 4th place. I don't see it. The Royals are much improved, and that's the problem. The Royals went out and got a lot better this offseason. Had the Royals not made very many moves like they did, they would probably battle pretty close with them. But these guys are definitely going to finish 5th. No shot. They've got a heavy division like you were just talking about. So I definitely am going to put them 5th. What do you got them as?
So I got them 5th too, but I may not have the faith in the Royals that you have. I think the Tigers could make this interesting. It's going to depend, again, on what that pitching is going to do. I think the Royals are probably a little better in the lineup, but I don't think there's a lot of separation there. You hear Taz sneezing in the background behind me. But I think the Tigers can make some noise, man. I really do. But again, it's just going to all ride on what that pitching does. So DJ, you're a Northern guy, obviously. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you I didn't follow the Tigers much last year or any year really, because we just don't hear that much about them here in West Virginia. But what's your favorite Tiger memory?
So you see my background tonight, and I'm not a Tigers fan, but I'm just supporting all you Tigers fans out there with a little love tonight with my. By the way, this is David. This is the best logo in baseball, in my opinion. I'm just being honest. The best uniform and the best logo in baseball.
Oh my gosh!
Besides in Detroit.
Hey, look David. Right here. That's the best logo. That's the most recognizable logo. That's it right there. It's not even close.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. And David, your name starts with a D like mine, man. Why do you not love the Old English D that is the greatest logo in baseball, man? I love it.
Are you basing the greatest logo in sports on an Old English D? I mean, it's a D. It's just, oh my gosh. Yeah, I definitely just got dumber.
You have an N and a Y on yours, and you're saying that's better because you got pinstripes?
Look at it. I mean, it's iconic. You could put that, man, I just don't know. And the best uniform?
Love it. The whites. The whites that the Tigers wear are my favorite uniform in baseball. I'm just saying they got it made, man.
Yankee pinstripes? Ever heard of it?
Overrated.
I mean, even Cubs pinstripes.
Yeah.
I can't believe you think that's the best uniform.
I'm telling you, man, that's definitely it. So I'm right and you're wrong, and that's the final. So you notice the guy in the background here, Kirk Gibson. This guy, man, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he is a World Series hero, David. And so he did it in '88 with the Dodgers, and in '84, one of my favorite memories of all time in baseball happened in October 14th of 1984. You got first base open. Lance Parrish is on deck. Kirk Gibson comes up to the plate in Game 5. The Tigers are up 5-4 over the Padres. Dick Williams, Padres manager, does this. Says 4 fingers, get Gibson on base. I want nothing to do with him. And what does Goose Gossage say? No. So here comes Dick Williams running out to the mound. And Sparky Anderson's laughing in the dugout. It's so funny because they're all mic'd up. He tells Gibson, he don't want to walk you. And Goose is like, I'll strike him out. I struck him out the first time I faced him. I got this guy. I got him. He's like, you want to bring the infield in? He's like, no. He's like, man, mid. And Nettles is telling him, man, we'll go about midway on him. So Gibson gets up there, and he's not limping this time. He's completely healthy, unlike the '88 time where he limped up there and did it. But of course, what does Gibson do? He hits a 3-run bomb off of Goose Gossage. The Tigers go up 8-4. Game over. Tigers win Game 5 8-4, and the series 4-1 over the Padres. It's the last time the Tigers would win the World Series. We were too young to know this or see these games, David, but we've just seen replays of them, obviously. But man, I'll tell you what, just the Tigers winning the World Series, this is the only time it's ever happened in our lifetime. And it's been a long time since they've won it. And it's going to be a long time till they win it again. But, they're starting to head in that right direction. Kirk Gibson memory by far sticks out to me. So you got any, or are you going to punt on this one?
No, I'm not going to punt. So back in the day, might be silly, but this is my Tigers memory, okay? RBI baseball, the AL All-Stars. Lou Whittaker and Alan Trammell. That was your second baseman and shortstop.
Yep.
And so that was the extent, just to be honest with you, I'm just being transparent. That was the extent of my care for the Tigers growing up. But I had a lot of respect for those players, not as much as you did. You're an Alan Trammell in the Hall of Fame all the way. I still to this day think that is silly. But the Tigers just haven't been very good in our lifetime. Let's be honest, because the next memory that I have is Justin Verlander, and the guy that's in Washington now. Max Scherzer.
Mm-hmm.
They were on the same team together when they had Dave Dombrowski, I believe, was their general manager. And as usual, DJ, he got him good. He gutted the team and he left, and they're still dealing with it. So we'll see if he does that where he is now. But, I don't have a lot of memories with the Tigers, just to be honest with you, but a lot of respect, again, for Lou Whittaker and Alan Trammell back in the day. So, DJ, I imagine you've probably been to both ballparks where the Tigers have played in our lifetime, Tiger Stadium and Comerica Park.
Well, Tiger Stadium I have not been to, so that looked like a big dump, and I'm not exactly crying on the fact that I missed that one. I did not get there. It ended in 1999 when we were just getting into college there, so I did not get an opportunity to go to that one. However, Comerica Park I have been to, and I tell you what, David, I went to Detroit thinking, man, this city's going to be a dump. I have no high expectations whatsoever for the city. The stadium, really, to be honest with you. When I got there, man, I was a little more impressed than I thought I was going to be. And it amazes me how close Comerica Park is to Ford Field, where the Lions play. It's just right next to each other. They literally bump up into each other. And there's like one little skinny road in between both of them. It's kind of cool. But, I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. It's been there since 2000. The best logo in MLB is all over that place. It's nice to look at. It's crazy how close it is to the Ford Field. Great statues of all their studs like Ty Cobb and Al Kaline, Mr. Tiger there. So kid-friendly field as well. Got to see Matt Boyd get yelled at. This is kind of a funny story. Lindsey ended up getting his autograph, of course, and some mom was sitting there, and Boyd had to leave, and she was like, "Can you sign for him?" And he's like, "Oh, I gotta go." And she just ripped him a new one, man. It was up and down with this and that. Boyd was just kind of like, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I'll sign for you," trying to be the good guy, and she just wasn't having it. So it's kind of interesting to see what they go through, because there's probably a group of about 40 people sitting there wanting an autograph. And I get it. They got to get to the game. They can't sit there and sign for everybody, I'm sure. They got a job to do too. And when they don't sign for somebody, man, wow, the claws come out, man. And she ripped into him, and it was kind of like, ooh, but they get bad reputations that way. And he didn't do anything bad. He was just trying to get back to work. It wasn't like he was being mean about it, but sometimes, forever she's going to be like, Matt Boyd's an idiot. That's just how it is. And so kind of funny from that perspective of how that really works out for these guys. But I really liked it. I've been there once. So how about you, David? You been there at all?
I've not been there. So DJ, I've got to ask you a couple questions about Comerica. So I read up on it a little bit. Is there really a Ferris wheel in the stadium?
You know what? I don't think I've seen that, David. Is there saying that there's one in the concourse or something?
It didn't say where, but it talked about there being a Ferris wheel, and then it talked about there being a water feature in the outfield that played choreographed music. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't know anything about that either. I must have missed both of those. I don't have any clue what you're talking about either, really.
And maybe that's something that was there in the beginning that's not now. I don't know. But
you know where it is? I know what it is, David. It's beyond center field, and since it's 700 feet to dead center, I probably couldn't see it.
I got to ask you about that. So what is it, the dimensions that make it so hard to hit home run there?
Man, I could not believe. I think it's 420 with a high wall to center field, David, and that's no joke. I really believe it's 420.
Oh,
so you go become a hitter in Comerica Park. Ooh. Maybe that's a problem in them drawing free agents. I don't know what the thought process behind that is. I don't get it. They got Torkelson coming up. Bring him in, man. I mean, didn't the Marlins just bring in the Fences or somebody?
Yep.
Like, do it, man. Like, what is the deal? So I do not get it, but that's probably where that water thing was, is beyond center field somewhere.
Yep, here it is. I found it. So there is the fly ball Ferris wheel. I don't know if you can see that or not. Nope. It's not allowing it, at least on my end. It looks like baseballs, for the where you sit or whatever. So it looks pretty cool actually. And it looks like it's in the picnic area.
Oh,
I'm not sure. And there's also that is also where the water feature is in center field, and it actually looks really cool. I would love to go to Comerica Park. Honestly, it looks really cool to me. You got the city in the background, the nice part of Detroit, obviously not the worst part. But it looks like a great stadium. I'm like you. Tiger Stadium kind of had a little. It was dumpy for sure. Don't get me wrong, but it kind of had a little bit of historic flair to it too.
yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, not that I hated to see it go. I didn't really care, but there was a lot of cool things happened in that park, and the way that it was shaped with the upper deck kind of right on the fence, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure those rafters or whatever got in the way, but Comerica Park looks really cool. They did a great job. So
didn't Reggie Jackson hit one on that roof in an All-Star game?
Yep.
My goodness, is that a moonshot?
Yep. Oh,
and I'm sure Cecil Fielder did it like 20 times too.
I love me some Cecil Fielder. I wanted to figure out some way to get him in this, because if you remember, he goes to Japan, he comes back and literally hits like 50 or 60 home runs the next year. I mean, something crazy. And then he came back to earth. But I love me some Cecil.
Speaking of Cecil, David, I'm glad we brought this up. Prince obviously played and I was looking at Prince Jr., probably, obviously. That dude is hitting tanks. Like, he's the next fielder and coming to the show, man. We got a third generation coming. Oh, he's coming.
Wow. How is he old enough to have a kid playing baseball? That's crazy.
Got me. He's I can't remember. He's not like, he might be in high school by now, to be honest with you. He's hitting some bombs. Some bombs.
We'll be looking that up here a little bit later.
Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
Yes, sir.
So, DJ, I got you a little trivia here. We'll see how good you are. Justin Verlander won Rookie of the Year in 2006. Who was the last Tiger player to win Rookie of the Year?
Okay, so before he did it, is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who was the Rookie of the Year before he got it in that year? Let's see. That would be. Give me. Man, that is a good one. Let's go Lou Whittaker.
Boom. 1978, Lou Whittaker.
Is it? Oh, yes, yes.
And I picked a trivia question about Lou Whittaker because we'll just spend a brief moment here. Give me Lou Whittaker's Hall of Fame case.
I knew this was gonna come up tonight. I knew it. I had no doubt in my mind.
I'm more on Lou Whittaker's side than I am Alan Trammell, just for the record. You can definitely make a case for Lou Whittaker. 75 WAR, 244 homers, I believe. He had more homers than Alan Trammell. He had more RBIs than Alan Trammell. And if I'm not mistaken, he had more wins above replacement than Alan Trammell. So, in my opinion, Lou Whittaker is very borderline, but he should be in before Alan Trammell was.
I'm calling.
Fight me.
I'll tell you what, man. We have fought about this one a lot. And the more I look at Lou Whittaker, man, the more I'm kind of getting closer and closer to believing he deserves a little bit more of a look there at second base, especially. I mean, honestly, David, like in the 80s, he was the man at second base. Let's just be honest.
Yes.
He was one of the best players at that position in the 80s for sure, for the whole decade. The numbers are no joke. I mean, I've got less of a problem if he gets in than some of the other guys that are in there right now. So I'm with you. I mean, I don't know if I'm 100% in on it, but I'm there a little bit. I feel you. I got you.
But not Lou.
That's where the problem. I get it. I understand that. Like Trammell's definitely one of the best shortstops of that decade, no doubt. Better than Ozzie Smith, not better than Cal Ripken, obviously, but he's up there. And so we got to talk position by position, which is what it does make a difference that your second baseman hitting those numbers and a shortstop hitting those numbers. So it does. There's a lot of people that believe Lou Whittaker should be in the Hall of Fame, and you're definitely one of them.
As usual, I'm going to close by saying I'm right. You're wrong. So,
whatever, man. Are you ready for my trivia question?
Yeah, I'm going to dominate it.
You probably will, actually. So this is kind of a good one here. I was excited to ask you this one. So who is the only player to lead the league in home runs the entire season, okay, of 1909? He led the league in home runs without hitting a ball over the fence. So they're all inside the park home runs. And he led the majors in home runs. What'd you say?
Ty Cobb?
Oh, you're right, man. I was going to give you four options, too. I was going to give you four options. You didn't even need the options.
Get off my lawn.
That's awesome, man.
I have never seen the movie about Ty Cobb. Somebody told me it's really good, but I guess he was a jerk.
Yes, sir.
Number one jerk. So I need to watch that movie. Have you seen it?
I have, and he is a jerk, and he's actually a murderer too, which we let murderers in the Hall of Fame, so we can do that, but no steroid guys or anything like that.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
I'm not even going to get really into the story of what happened there as far as him killing this guy, but that's kind of crazy, man. You need to kind of look up that whole thing too. It is not a good story. He was not a good dude. He sharpened his cleats. He tried to hurt people in the game when he was playing.
Wow.
F person, man. Just not an A+ person at all. He was an F person. And I mean, Babe Ruth gets a bad reputation. Ty Cobb made Babe Ruth look like a saint, if that tells you anything, because Babe Ruth was not a saint. But
well, what I'll say about Babe Ruth, he wasn't a bad guy. I mean, he was a drunk and a party animal, but he wasn't a bad person. And from all I've heard about Ty Cobb, he was a bad person.
Yes, sir. Very true.
Wow. All right, DJ. Well, this wraps up another episode. We got the Tigers. The Pirates coming on next, followed by the Diamondbacks and the Giants, and we're going to try to make it, DJ. And I got to give a shout out to our fans. Listen, guys, we went like all of COVID, getting like 8 views a week, and now all of a sudden we're like hitting 200 views a week, which for most people will be nothing, but for us it's pretty cool. So DJ's going to be turning in that 2-week notice pretty soon. We're expecting a call from MLB Network. I'm going to punch Kevin Millar for all the pain that he caused me all those years with the Red Sox. So anyway, thank you to you guys who've been watching. Please continue to share and like our page. We've had a lot of fun doing this podcast and hope to keep it going. So for me and DJ, once again, it's good to see you, and we will see you next time talking about the Pirates.
Want to give a quick shout out as we sign off here to our boy Preston Larison, who was a big minor league guy for the Tigers for all those years, who was a Frenemies podcast, man. He came on the show. Big shout out to our favorite Tiger, Preston Larison. Also to my assistant coach, Joe Meisner, who will be on this show next year with us talking Tigers baseball. We look forward to having you, man. Big fan. This episode is also for you, man. He will definitely be one that watches this Tigers show tonight, so I wanted to give him a shout out as well. Hope everything's going well with you, buddy. Look forward to seeing you soon with baseball season coming up. To all you Tigers fans out there, good night. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you all very much. Have a great night.